Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for joining us here and online. The power and the presence of the Masters and the angels and the Holy Spirit is so powerful in this room. It's electrifying. The meditation started a half hour ago, and yet we're just starting. Instead of rising like we normally do, just sit straight wherever you are at home and here, and inwardly repeat these words. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Spirit of the living God, blessed holy angels, divine mothers of heaven, all our elder brothers and sisters, robed in white, come far and wide from every universe, all Buddhas and Christs that have ever existed, and those who stand outside of existence, come here into this temple of clarity. Holy Spirit, descend in all of your aspects, from the wind to the fire, a light on each one of us. Fill us with the inner knowing. Fill us with the holy joy, the sacred presence of the living God. In this meditation, stop thinking. Go into the timeless place. Commune with the living God. Go beyond wherever you have gone before. The Masters and the angels are here. Remain completely still. Look out your spiritual eye between your eyebrows and know divine help is here. This is the moment for you. This is the moment for you. So for 15 or 20 minutes, with all your heart and all your mind and all your love, go into God. Go into spirit and rest in the holy presence of the living God. Please keep your eyes closed for a few more moments and stay in that place of infinite awareness. We are truly sons and daughters of God. Our voices count for millions of people, for those who have lost their voice, who have lost their communication with the light. And with our eyes closed now, looking out the spiritual eye, visualize the earth and that we are surrounded with beautiful angels looking at the planet, loving the planet, Earth. In our higher minds, we know where there is suffering, where there is darkness, where our voice, our Om of light will penetrate and bless. Now let's take one breath in to our heart and we'll chant Om for the healing of all mankind wherever it is. Going back to the beginning of time, we can erase any records and visualize that Om with the violet light, washing clean the planet. And now we look forward into time, to the end of time, for all of our children, grandchildren, all who will come after us. May they have love and light, and we pay it forward. Thank you, and God bless you. I'd like to introduce my teacher and good friend, David Christopher Lewis. He is the living mystic and messenger of the Ascended Masters and the Universal Brotherhood of Light. And he's come from Livingston, Montana to conduct a retreat here at the Temple of Clarity. And also we were up at the LA Expo. And I just want to thank you, David, so much for coming. And let me turn on your mic, which is live now, and share whatever you'd like.
Thank you, everyone. Am I on? Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Dennis and Eva, who we will visualize as perfectly whole. She's a little under the weather, and I'm concerned about her, so I love her very deeply. And she and my wife have the same birthday, coming up April 28th. And I'm privileged to be here again in this beautiful place. And since the last time I was here, Dennis secured this amazing, very large framed print of Jesus. this is exactly the Jesus that came to me when I was 17, and again when I was 48 and had my mystical experience. I love this image probably over all the other images of Jesus. It's absolutely stupendous. And Dennis told me it's based on the Shroud of Turin, so that makes sense. This morning, we went for a wonderful hike to a volcano, an inactive volcano that's over 10 million years old. And as we were hiking toward kind of the domed top of it, off to the left, I saw a hummingbird. And coincidentally, about an hour ago, I received an email out of the blue from a dentist friend of my wife and mine who went to the Galapagos Islands and then to Panama and to Costa Rica. And from Costa Rica, he sent an image of a sign, "Facts about hummingbirds." And I'm going to get to why I'm sharing this a little later, but I thought I'd share this. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds in the world. For their size, hummingbirds have the largest heart and brain of all animals. Hummingbirds have no sense of smell. Hummingbird wings beat around 60 times per second. Hummingbird hearts beat from 500 to 1,200 times per minute. Hummingbirds are only found in North, Central, and South America. Hummingbirds visit 2,000 to 5,000 flowers a day. Hummingbirds can consume twice their weight daily. Their color is produced by refraction of light, not by pigment. Their average speed is 45 miles per hour. Their tongues are twice the length of their bills. In addition to nectar, hummingbirds eat insects for protein. Hummingbirds cannot walk, only perch. Hummingbirds fly only 20% of the time. That means the other 80%, I guess, they're perched because they don't walk. Now, after we got to the top of this, what's left of the volcano, Dennis pulled out his drone and shot it up into the air, and it sounds a little bit like a, and the bees don't like it. And then he took some pictures of us, three of us, standing on the edge of the crater. And it was quite an experience. I think we hiked maybe 4 to 5 miles, maybe. And I had already walked 2 miles this morning in my meditation, so it was a good exercise day. The metaphor that I like to share is that both the drone and the hummingbird are still at the point where they're involved in their amazing alchemy of extracting the nectar from flowers. And by virtue of this magnificent symbiotic relationship, also helping to pollinate the flowers of trees and all the plants that they extract the nectar from. Just like bees and other insects, moths and butterflies, etc. So the metaphor to me is that in the great stillness of their ability to hold their space, this peace, they are simultaneously super active in the flapping of their wings and the hum that you hear, which to me symbolizes higher consciousness, the vibration that they have to rise to in order to then also have that perfect stillness. It's amazing. It's an amazing, I won't say dichotomy, it's really an amazing alchemy of kind of a dual action of perfect stillness hovering there in flight and yet in one specific point of time and space. And yet, as we hear here, beating their wings so many times, 60 times per second. And the drone, is doing the same thing. It's these four rotors are turning, and yet it can hover exactly in one spot, as long as the battery lasts, right? So the metaphor to me is when we are in stillness and meditation, a part of us is very active, our higher self, our higher mind, which is not engaged in lower mental thinking, and it's asked us, quiet your mind or still your mind or have no thought, right? No thought. There's no thought in the action that happens naturally of beating the wings or of entering into our divine presence and accelerating consciousness or accelerating our vibration to go higher and higher and higher. And through continuously higher levels of stillness, we eventually reach the zenith of being in our ascension. It requires tenacity to do this, and it requires a great mobility, effort, focus, divine attention, and did I mention stability? Maybe, yeah. And yet it's all part of this amazing process of the ascension. So we can coexist in a number of dimensions simultaneously. And I think we all know that we do. And part of ourself is always engaged in higher divine thought, which to me is really divine beingness. And this vibration that is very high in frequency and yet still is in the center of the hurricane, it's in the center of the eye of the hurricane, where everything around it may be swirling and yet it is still. I believe that this is the state of being where we are in self-mastery, where we are in non-reactivity, non-duality, where no matter what is transpiring around the world, we can maintain that non-reactive state of perfect divine bliss and beingness in communion with God, our divine self, and then from that point of perfection emanate the most wonderful frequencies of love, light, levity, any virtue that we desire. And as our wings are flapping, you don't really see them individuated, right? It's like the wheels of a car going so fast that it looks like it's either spinning backwards or it's not spinning at all. You can't, unless you have a a camera that can capture that rate of speed of the flapping of the wings. You don't even hardly even know that they're flapping them, you just know. So that even that's a metaphor for the acceleration to the point where you enter perfect beingness, where it doesn't even look like there's motion, and yet there's this tremendous motion. I think that every time you come here to the Temple of Clarity and meditate, whether you come Tuesday nights or do the Mother Mary Rosary on Wednesdays or the Kuan Yin Rosary on Thursdays, it's an opportunity to reach a new level of consciousness, to perceive with higher eyes, to experience with a more rarefied personal and collective awareness of what the higher beings would like to convey when they come to, because for many of you, you know that orbs show up here all the time. And Dennis has a camera up there, and when he turns it on, it's constantly recording these beautiful orbs that are just coming in the atmosphere and going right through Dennis's body and maybe our bodies. And what are these orbs? Well, they're the vibration of higher beings expressing themselves in a subtle way that it actually now is being captured by a camera, which is amazing. And who's to say whether these aren't like cosmic butterflies or beings that are flapping their wings and flying around? I think they are. We have a lot of work to do for the planet, and the best way, in my heart and mind, to accomplish that is through self-mastery, through this higher stillness, where because we are in that perfect zone of beingness, in stillness, anything is possible for us to fulfill. The impossible becomes possible. The inconceivable becomes conceivable. The most blessed and divine, radiant fields of love, light, and God's virtues simply alight right within our auric field with such tremendous blessing and boons and graces that we are literally catapulted up into our higher states so that we can do even greater works. Jesus said, greater works than these shall you do because I go to the Father, the I Am Presence. This morning, we had a little sharing about our time at the expo, and then I shared what came in my meditation early this morning about the rainbow. And the rainbow is really God's smile upon humanity. Of course, it symbolizes hope. If you consider the scriptures of Noah and the flood, and then the rainbow appearing after they came upon dry land. But if you look at it from God's perspective, the rainbow is actually a smile projected from above to us. See? The rainbow is God's smile. Just have to look at it from God's perspective. So when we smile, and the Masters have said in our movement, we will be known as the smiling meditators. That's why when I meditate, I try to always get in the bliss of beingness, because in that state of beingness and love with God, I have to smile. It's natural. So we complete the circuit with our smile to meet God's smile with the rainbow, and then we complete the rainbow body, which the Tibetan Buddhists say is the ascended state, the body of the ascension, the Merkaba. And so when we are in perfect communion with God and we're smiling in our blissful meditation of pure oneness, we complete that circle. And now we have the whole rainbow body around us and around the world, manifesting with the 7 glorious colors of our attainment of the Master of the 7 Rains. So when I went for a walk this morning and gazed at the sun for about 5 minutes safely in the first hour after it rose over the horizon, I saw very clearly how great God was in this miracle of the sunrise and how we are also rising. We are sons of God, S-U-N-S, sons and daughters, rising. Just as the hummingbird rises, just as these orbs rise and descend and rise again. And in our meditation, we always have the opportunity to reach higher into God's presence and attempt to perceive the universe, our world, ourselves as God does, with immaculate vision, perfect and clear consciousness, where everything is divine, everything is holy, every being is a part of the whole, and there is no duality. There's temporary duality in the sense that we connect with our other half and we co-create children and we move through life in the day and the night cycles. But ultimately we reach that point of resolution where we realize all is one and we are the one. So I realized I didn't really lead the meditation tonight. Some of you were told I would lead it, but I think Dennis did a phenomenal job by God's grace, and I was supporting him and supporting all of us in reaching that state of stillness and maintaining it, so that the greater work that we were doing on the inner, sponsored by our Ascended Master brothers and sisters, could be fulfilled. And then one final little tidbit, because I love words and the lexicon of the English language. You know, the orb backward is bro. So, you know, we have lots of bros hovering around here. And I was joking with Deborah Timberlake, our African-American friend at our booth the other day, and said, Deborah, I don't even really like the term African-American because, it just seems to be, an effort to make it politically correct. To call somebody who's really a bro, he's just a bro. Why can't I just call him a bro? And that it's a guy or with darker skin, but that's just the outer epidermis. It's nothing. We're all one on the inner. And she laughed and laughed and laughed. Well, you can still call African American because, it's better than black. So anyway, I just, labels don't do anything, right? They're just labels. And I think eventually we get away from labeling anything. And we'll just describe somebody as a bro, whether he's white or black or green or whatever color. Or a cis. I guess we have to have cis in there. So the orbs are really not just guys, They're cisses too. Because that's the same backwards either way. So that's my joke for tonight. And I don't know, Dennis, if you'd like to have like a little darshan with questions, or what would you like?
Sure. We can pass that mic around. I'll give you this one.
Okay. So whatever we'd like to do.
If anybody has a question for David about the Ascended Masters, about the Heart Center movement, about something, the event that's coming up, we'll pass the mic to you. Just let me know.
Yeah, David, my name is Richard Jaden. Nice meeting you.
I'm sorry, it's what?
My name is Richard Jaden, and it's nice meeting you, David. And my question is a very, very basic question. I'm still confused. It seems like that's the state I'm walking in through life, confused. I kind of like it that way. The question I have is, if we picture God in our mind, we have to visualize what? A man in the sky with long hair and then a white beard? Is it a male or is it a female? I just want to ask you if you could maybe clarify that a little more. So if we say, well, we'll talk to God, who are we talking to?
Okay. Dennis, do you have a copy of Nauza and Always?
Yes.
I'd like to read to you from this book, El Moria's version of God, because it's so beautiful that when I received it, I was literally in bliss for about an hour. The energy of that experience of hearing El Moria, his description of who God is so amazing that I just Dennis, do you have a copy upstairs?
I have one right over here.
Stephen? Okay. I don't think I could say it any better than he did, although we've had many heartstrings where the masters will say who God is from different perspectives. Definitely not a man with a long beard.
It definitely is a male, right?
No. You learn that from that recent movie, God is a Black Woman. What was that movie?
The Shack?
The Shack, yeah, The Shack. Yeah, if you've seen the movie The Shack, it's kind of a Christian version, speaking of the Trinity, But God the Father in that movie was a black woman. So, a black cis. I mean, a cis woman. No. I'm confused now. Stephen, do we have a copy upstairs?
No.
Well, while he's getting the book, probably open the box. God is energy. God is light. God is pure consciousness. God is everything. God is love. I like that definition probably the best. God is the allness. God is the source. I like to say, may the source be with you. Because I think, the word force, even though it's in Star Wars, connotes like, this. And I like, may the source be with you. So I was hoping in the Heart Center we'd have t-shirts just said, may the source be with you, may the big sun.